What's up guys, my name is Killer Cloud, and in this video I'm going to be doing a review of the Kennedy RDA, okay? I'm going to do a little zoom up so you guys can see this. Sexy mama. This thing is gorgeous. Okay, so I'm going to do a review of something this right here, this box, but all eyes on the top portion, RDA. This thing is freaking sick. Alright, so usually I use mutation X's by indulgence all the time for my RDAs. They have super amazing airflow, the V3s, 45, blah blah blah. I've reviewed all this stuff. But the Kennedy, I was a little skeptical, mainly because if you see right here, there's no airflow on the outer portion on the cap. And normally all the RDAs that you see have, most of them have some type of airflow on the outside cap, side airflow. This one totally is like, screw the outside airflow. How do you increase flavor and get no spit back? Well, you put airflow at the bottom. So I'm gonna do more of an in-depth review on my uppy closey, but I'll let you guys look at this real quick. I'm gonna focus it and do a 360 of this really beautiful RDA. Look how clean that is. If you're wondering what type of metal this is made out of, it's made out of stainless steel. So really hard, really durable. I mean, this is just beautiful. See the airflow? You got two slits on here. You got two slits on the other side. Comes with a drip tip right here at the tip. Super, super wide bore. I mean, this goes all the way down. It's kind of like a chuff. Think of it as a chuff. It does not heat up when you put your lips on it. Do not worry. The stainless steel doesn't contain heat very well, and it dissipates it mainly because the airflow is at the bottom. It cools the coils down faster than an original setup with airflow on the side. The Kennedy logo right there in that sick font. But this RDA, I've already built on this RDA from a while back. I'm running this box mod in series, so it heats up super uber quick, and I'm gonna do a uppy closey for you guys. So like always, I'm going to do a cloud fade. Okay guys, so Kennedy RDA, love this thing, love it. I was a little skeptical about the airflow because I like a crazy amount of airflow on the side, but this airflow is just enough for almost any build. And I'm talking 18 gauge, 20 gauge, 22 gauge, 24, anything you can think of. This airflow really does it all. I'm going to take off the cap real quick. Actually, you know what? I'm going to spin this whole thing. Actually, I don't know what I want to do. I'm going to take the cap off, and I'm going to get my... I'm going to show you guys the inside, actually. I'm going to keep this over here, and I'm going to show you guys the cap first, because this is not where the magic happens, but it's still really beautiful. Let me just zoom that up real nice. Okay, guys. Got the Kennedy logo, like I said before. Really clean engraved, really deep engraving on this, because it's pretty thick. I mean, if you look inside, you got that bell kind of cap insert, so you don't really get any spit back. Even if the popcorn does shoot out, you will not get any spit back when you're inhaling. It's got this really wide bore kind of chuff style drip tip. I'm gonna take the drip tip off for you guys real quick. Now, I don't know if you guys can see on this, but the drip tip does not have an O-ring at all. It does not have one, because the inside has the drip tip. I mean, the inside has the O-ring. I cannot talk for some reason. Jesus Christ. So, inside's the O-ring, and then that eliminates juice coming out, and you just press little snap right there, and it's in, and there's no wiggle. It's very tight, but this is just gorgeous craftsmanship. They did a great job at making this. I'm gonna take some juice off real quick because my hands, there's always some type of juice on these type of things. Okay. But that's not where the magic happens. I'm gonna put this to the side and I'm going to show you guys the actual deck. So I already have 20 gauge G-Plat 9 wrap wrapped around what I believe is a 3/32. I think that's what I did. This build is 2 to 3 weeks old and it's still looking pretty clean. That just goes to show you G-Plat lasts a long time. I'm gonna get a little closer for you guys and show you the airflow. So see those 2 holes at the bottom of the coils? Those are what are the airflow. It cools down the coils at a much more higher rate. It's a much higher rate than side airflow. Cools it down at a better, I can't really use any words for this, but on both sides you see those 2 holes, they go down to that airflow at the bottom, like you see at the deck. Just a standard, you know, negative, positive, negative, just 3 posts like normal. Pretty deep hole, I mean pretty, you know, fat holes. Not as fat as a mutation, but you can always drill that out. But it's pretty deep. I mean, you don't really need to make any crazy builds with this RDA. You can get some pretty fat clouds with this. But you have a copper center pin, as you see right there in the center. Just standard Phillips screws. And I noticed that it doesn't strip. When I use my screwdriver on here, they're stainless steel screws and they are pretty durable when it comes to screwing and tightening down these coils on the wires and the posts. It's all pretty tight. So the reason why it creates more flavor is there's not side airflow on this cap. So you're gonna get a warmer, more wholesome vape. You're gonna have your flavor is going straight up as opposed to losing it on the side airflow of certain caps. The airflow at the bottom cools down those coils much more rapidly than side, because it's at the bottom, it's closer to those coils. It's just gonna pull down the juice, but then it's gonna pull up the vapor. So it's a pretty cool system. Now, this deck has a huge, deep juice well. You can overfill this thing quite a bit without it leaking at all. And even if you do overjuice the insides, all you have to do is just snap the cap on and then take a quick, a suck. You just kind of like pull really quick and then it'll clear the inside airflow. So you won't have any juice inside those tiny chimneys. But it is just gorgeous. I mean, this is just a great RDA. Gonna give you guys a little turnaround and kind of see this. Beautiful. So I'm gonna fire this real quick. Nice and bright. Since I'm running in series, I have a 9 wrap. It comes off to 0.14 ohms. Heats up pretty quick because it's running at 8.4 volts. Yeah, it's a unregulated box mod, but this is not important at all. This is where the spotlight's on right now. I'm going to go in a different frame and I'm gonna have this all wicked up, juiced up, and I'm gonna show you guys how well it fires. Alright, okay guys, before I juice this thing up, I want to show you guys how to wick this certain RDA. You can't just make a bed of cotton underneath like you would normally because the airflow's at the bottom underneath these coils. So I'm gonna do a quick zoom up and I'm gonna show you guys what I do, which most people do with this RDA anyway. So you have your cotton through your coils like normal, but then you're gonna tuck them into those small cavities on the corners of where the wick ends on that RDA, right? So you can keep the airflow pure throughout the inside. You don't want any cotton overlaying those tubes. You can have a tiny bit maybe on the corners, but I want to keep it as clean as possible. Mainly because I don't want to choke my airflow. I want to keep this as wide open as possible. But that's basically what you're looking at right there. So I'm going to juice it up, and don't worry about over juicing. Remember, these decks are super deep, so I'm just gonna grab some juice. Got my 120 ml of Sweet Tooth from Alpha Vapes, almost gone. I mean, I love this stuff a lot, so just going to kind of use the excess in this unicorn bottle. And the cool thing about this is when you're dripping the juice on here, I'm going to try to show you guys exactly what I mean. Let's see what I can do with this. Okay, guys. So, I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm going to try to show you guys. Camera's got to work with me a little bit. There we go. Okay, so when you juice this thing up, don't worry. You can kind of like, I use like a brush motion, kind of brush on the coils a little bit. And if the juice comes down, it rolls and then it goes to the left and right of the coil. It doesn't go inside the chimney at all. So you don't have to worry about over juicing and then it just goes right into that chimney, those two airflows. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep dripping juice on it, and I'm going to come back and do a little close-up for you guys. The cotton I'm using is just organic, boiled cotton. Pretty basic stuff, nothing special. I'm just gonna juice this up and then take a flathead screwdriver and then tuck my cotton back into those tiny, kind of little gaps. The gaps are located in the back of the negatives and to the right or left of those airflow chimneys. So I'm just going to get everything well saturated. If I'm over juicing, I don't have to worry about that because of these deep wells. And what's cool is it kind of mimics an RDA in the style, let's say, of the K-Fun in a tiny sense, because you can actually drip in the center and then fill up that juice well. So then the coils and the cotton kind of soak up, even if you're taking, long drags. You can actually take way more drags than you would normally from a regular RDA, mainly because it's holding juice in kind of like a tank formation, kind of like the well is so deep that you can fill this juice and take maybe 10 to 12 hits as opposed to, let's say, 4 to 5, and it just keeps re-soaking that cotton inside. So I'm going to take my flathead screwdriver and kind of push this cotton to the side to keep that airflow open. I don't want to close it at all. Okay, I'm gonna do a little zoom up again for you guys. All soaked up, and you want to keep that gap at the bottom. Gonna give a quick test fire. That's nice. Oh yeah. Juice it up one more time. Running this RDA in a series box mod is crazy. I mean, this just performs insanely well. Oh yeah. So I'm taking maybe 1 second drags and I'm still getting amazing amount of airflow. Now that's because I'm running in series at 8.4 volts. I get that. And it's heating up a lot quicker than normal. But I've ran this on just single tube mods, 3.4 or 3.8 volt batteries. And it still makes really thick Plumie clouds. And the flavor is just amazing. Now, I'm just running standard 20 gauge 9 wrap, 332nd drill bit, coils, nothing fancy with that, pretty simple, and I'm still getting a crazy amount of airflow. And the flavor, like I said before, is just truly, really wow. Alright guys, I'm going to go back out so you guys can see the clouds from a more distant, I don't want to keep doing this, but yeah, this is great, guys. I mean, I'll show you guys the clouds real quick. One second drags, and I'm getting some really crazy clouds. The Kennedy, I love the Kennedy. It's a pretty heavy RDA, mainly because it's stainless steel, but it's very thick and it's very durable. And believe it or not, when I first got this, I took really good care of it, and I wanted to test out if this thing would bend. That's what I do. I test these things to their limits. So I drove my car over top of this RDA, and then I cleaned it, and it did not bend. Nothing. Didn't happen. This might as well be titanium for all I care, because it is just strong. I mean, the clouds are good. I mean, airflow is perfect. It sits great. It sits pretty flush. And I'll show you guys real quick. I didn't do this before, but I'm going to take off the RDA and show you guys the bottom. Let's see. Come on now. There we go. Kind of show you guys the bottom and what it looks like. I didn't really do that in the up closey. My bad. Wipe the juice off of that. And so at the bottom, what you're going to see is, let's see, I'm going to do a zoom. So what you see is the serial number, which means it's an authentic. Made in the USA, says it right there, and I'm not that gullible. I checked it and I bought it from their direct website, and I'll give you guys a link to their website or where you can buy it. But see the airflow right there? Bottom goes right to that deck, and it has these kind of fins, kind of like what you see from like a clearomizer in a way, or a pro tank, but really huge. And then you see it right there at the top of the deck. This does not, you cannot adjust this pin at the top. You can adjust it, but it sits pretty far out, so I would recommend this for hybrid mods, anything where it makes flush contact with the top of the battery. It's really nice though. I'm gonna sit this back on my secret box. Everyone knows, if everyone knows what this box mod is, then I'm out of focus. Here it is. This is no secret to people that know about the vaping community what this is. I'm just gonna kind of show you guys. You know what this is if you know, but if you don't, then the review is coming in the next video. But really, it hits hard. I appreciate that they used copper, just pure copper contacts as opposed to silver plated copper. I mean, because once the silver plated copper, since silver is it's a lot softer than copper is, once that kind of fades away, you get more of a voltage drop than you would with just a standard copper connection, believe it or not. So I appreciate what they did, Kennedy, when they made, pure copper contacts. And if you're asking, why don't they just make the screws copper? Because copper is still pretty soft of a metal, and they didn't want to strip those screws. You don't want to have stripped screws; those are horrible. So these screws are very, very durable. You have the two O-rings right here that eliminate, juice spilling over on the sides if that may be whatever happens. The cap sits on super flush. I mean, it's pretty easy to get this cap on. Just makes it snap and it's done, and it will not come off. I mean, this is just like, you gotta really yank on this thing to get it off. But super happy with the quality, craftsmanship, and the clouds are great. The flavor is spot on too. One second drags, guys. 1 second drags. Now with a regular 2 mod or a parallel box mod, whatever have you, that's not in series, then this would hit like normally. You'd have to probably take like a 4 to 5 second drag, but depending on the build you have, that all depends. But I'm just running, you know, like I said before, the build, but it's in series, so that's why it's heating up so fast, doubling up that voltage on those 2 batteries. It's good, guys. I'm going to juice this up, and I'm going to stand back away from the camera so that you guys can see how big the clouds are. I know that when I stand too close to the camera, you guys can't really see how big these clouds are, and I'm going to fix that pretty soon. Enough said. Definitely one of my favorite RDAs next to the Mutation X V3. Really high quality RDA. So I'm going to end this review, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.